Hello there, my name is Ravina Surana. In this vlog, I will unpack what play based learning is, the key theory that supports it, research on why play is important both physically, cognitively, socially, and psychologically, and a practical roadmap to planning, implementing, and assessing play so that it appears as required in the curriculum. My context is in Australia, so I need to relate concepts to early year learning framework, expectations of ACE, CQA quality, and AITSL graduate teacher standards. What do we mean by play based learning? Play based learning is not free for all downtime. It is purposeful learning through play, where children agency leads the exploration and educator guide towards valued outcome. The approach sits on continuum child initiated free play that honors curiosity and choice, guide play where educator seeds environment and use light touch prompts to steer attention to concepts, and games with rules which systematically exercise turn taking, inhibition, and strategy. Across this continuum, the common demonstrator are joy, active engagement, and social interaction, iteration, and meaning making features consistently associated with deeper learning. In Australian setting, PBL aligns with EYLF outcomes 1 into 5 by prompting identity, connections, well-being, confident learning, and multiliterate communication. The first one is theoretical foundation, why play works. So, the Burner added that learning is encoded adaptively, iconically, and symbolically, like through language. Thoughtfully, scaffolded play accelerates movement across these representational modes, whereas Lev argued that in the mature pretend play, children operates ahead taller than themselves. Rules and shared scripts create a zone of paradoxical development where more capable peers and teachers scaffold language and self-regulation. Whereas Jean Piaget viewed play as a context for assimilation. Children fit new experiences into existing schemes and accommodation. They adjust those schemes when play exposes contradictions. Symbolic play is particularly potent because it lets children represent reality and practice perspective talking. Contemporary account expand the case. Leong and Brodava shows how play foster executive function, planning, working memory, inhibitory control through the tools of rules, private speech, and rule governs action. Seton Smith reminds us that play's ambiguity it is strength. It flexes between realism and fantasy, solitary focus and social negotiation, stability and risk exactly the balance complex learning requires. The second one is why play matters. It has evidence across its four development domains. The first one is physical development. Active play strengthens gross motor, running, balancing, climbing, and fine motor skills like manipulating loose parts, connecting blocks, both of which are associated with connection and later academic engagement. Self directed outdoor play invites graded risk, walking a block, building a higher platform, teaching risk engage assessment and body awareness while building resilience. Motor exploration also fits perception action coupling as children move. They refine repeatal awareness that later supports geometry and mapping. The second one is cognitive development. Play is high yield context for cognition. Guided blocks play improves spatial reasoning and early math vocabulary. Board and card games support numeracy and executive control. In well-designed studies, guided plays often outperforms direct instruction on targeted concepts because it maintains exploration while nudging attention to the relevant feature. Pretend play, meanwhile, stretch language. Children play narratives, negotiate rules, and practices complex sentences. Importantly, play exercise execution functions the foundation for goal-directed learning. Turn-taking games demand inhibition, building project text, working memory. Rule change requires cognitive flexibility. The third one is social development. From patrons' early work, we know children move through solitary, parallel, associative, cooperative play. Each stage brings new social tools, noticing others, sharing material, coordinating plans, and resolving conflicts. Research shows that rich, sustained, shared thinking adults thinking with children during play predicts better social behavioral outcomes along with literacy and numeracy gains. Peer play quality also correlates with empathy and perspective taking. Dramatic plays, in particular, let children inhabit cultural rules and rehearse moral reasoning in low stake contexts. Psychological development is the fourth one. Play supports well being by satisfying three psychological needs, that is, autonomy, competence, and relatedness. It provides a safe arena to process life events, moving house, new siblings, even worries about illness, building resilience and emotional literacy. Educators who notice these themes and respond sensitively help children name feelings, rehearse coping strategies, and internalize self regulation. Now we can see how to plan, implement, and assess play based learning. First one is we can use a simple professional cycle. Adopt a continuous observing, planning, acting, teaching, assessing, reflecting, and communicating cycle that starts by observing interest and strength. Perhaps a group repeatedly constructs animal rescue center using ropes and crates to move injured toys. Translate that interest into learning intentions. Science vocab like habitat and spices, measurements like length and weight, and social strategies like coordinating roles. Choose the play mode, a guide investigation with provocation and occasional mini lessons embedded within periods of child-led free play. Second one is design enabling environments. So here we have three. First is the zone where we can dramatic play studio, construction engineering, marker space loose parts, quiet literacy nooks, and deserves outdoor affordance. Second one is provocation. Provocations has clipboards and tally charts, non-fiction text and picture directionaries, measuring tapes and balancing scales, photo of wildlife rescue to spark ethical talk. The third one is affordance for language. Label the shelf with words, images, and add sentences, stems, speech bubble to encourage academic talk. This approach reflects EYLF principle of high expectations, secure relationships, and rich environment and aligns with AITSL standards. The third one is how we teach in the flow to play. So adopt a co-player or a coach stance, move fluid between modeling. I am grouping animals by habitat, forest, desert, ocean. We can prompt how could we show how we rescued today. We can question what would happen if we changed the ramp angle. We can challenge them. Can you design a stretcher that keeps the toy level? We can fading them by stepping back so children take the lead. These moves place children in their ZPD while preserving agencies, use Tier 2 vocabulary, deliberately recasting children's talk without hijacking ownership. Brief micro lessons, for example, demonstrating how a pulley changes force, direction, seed new possibilities. Lastly, we can plan for inclusion and well-being. So using universal design for learning, provide multiple ways to engage like visual schedules, choice boards, noise reducing headphones, and define sensory breaks. Offer roles with different entry points so every child contributes meaningfully. Invite families to share expertise and artifacts, strengthening children's identity and communicating connections. Key phases in ACE, CQA, Standard 6, and EYLF partnerships. We can assess learning formatively and meaningfully. So, assessment in PBL is continuous, authentic, and evidence rich combined. So, we can have NC total notes with time-stamped observations, work samples, and sequence of photos with educator caption that makes learning visible, checklist or rubrics for targeted skill. Child voice snipped. We made it longer because the first one dipped. Map evidence to EYLF outcomes, the link back to Esclipped learning intentions. This approach addresses share highlights via learning stories and digital portfolios, meeting graduate standards on engaging professionally with parents and careers. We have reflect and irritate. So after each cycle, ask what knowledge, skill, depositions emerged, which provocation or prompt lead deeper inquiry. Which children need a different entry point or scaffold. This reflective stances demonstrate graduate 6.3 and ensures continuous improvement. Practical tips I can use tomorrow. So I can pre-plan language targets, protect both kind of time, like block daily windows for sustained free play and for short guided play with clear intentions, engineer productive problems, notice and name executive functions, document small often two consequences, annotate photos per day, trump along weekly, write up they're easier to share with their families and colleagues. Correlate and care. When monitor the emotional arc of pretend play, offer language for feelings and choices for re-entry when conflict arises. So to sum up, play-based learning is rigorous precisely because it couples children's interest, motivation with intentional teaching. Classic theories explain why play builds structure for thinking and self-regulation, and contemporary research show that guided, well-scaffolded plays advances language, math, executive function, social competence, and well-being. When we design rich environments, teach in the flow, and document learning against EYLF outcomes, we meet both curricular and professional expectations, including ACE CQA standards. Most importantly, we honor children as capable, imaginative learners who build knowledge and community through plays. Thank you so much.